What are the three most critical things you must be looking for in hiring agents or employees in this current environment that we're in? And the one thing that can be the make or break, even if you hire someone based on these three critical silos. It's John Chepak coming to you and wanting to stay out in front of this changing market we're in. I want to remind you, I've been in this business for 35 years as an agent, as a branch manager, as an executive, and of course, many years as a coach. And I come from experiencing this firsthand. Now I get to look behind the scenes and behind the curtain and paying really close attention to what people are experiencing. So while there's many things to be looking for, I want to share these three that I want to encourage you to really look for. I mean, you can do all the different personality tests and anyways, I'm not even going to go there on that. I think we all know what happens with those. Like, so many people implement them, and has it ever changed your attrition and productivity of agents? We'll leave that for a later video. With that said, let's go for number one. Number one is humility. Absolute humility. I'm going to tell you why. If you are a leader right now, you have a proven process, okay? And if someone wants to come in and put their tweaks to something that is proven, it's going to be a tug of war. They're not going to win in your environment. It's going to take a ton of energy. And again, they're just going to churn. You need to talk to people about their humility, their willingness to follow a proven process, and to ask you for examples where they have been humble in a new environment, regardless of having great sales experience somewhere else, because that is required. And I'm not talking about top down where you control them. I'm talking about a partnership. It requires mutual accountability. It's going to require mutual humility. If someone doesn't have humility, and that doesn't mean they lack ego is healthy, but if they don't have a level of humility, they're not going to submit to the mission. They're not going to take feedback. And in this environment, let me tell you something, they must submit to the mission. It's a non-negotiable. Number two is work ethic. Work ethic is not what you think it is. Most people think that work ethic is the time you put in. No, it's not. You can give me someone who works 60 hours or 80 hours. That's one silo of it. Time is important. But let's take a look at time on tasks and what tasks they're willing to do. So the first silo is the time someone's willing to put in. And I'm not saying work themselves to death, but are they willing to put that time in? Like the employee, like it's 4:59, they get off at 5 and they race out the door. That's not going to work. I'm talking about the someone that is going to put in that time until the task is done. It's the same for a real estate agent who's an independent contractor. See, most people think getting into real estate is to attain freedom, and it is. But here's what most people don't understand is that freedom is on the other side of boundaries, restrictions, discipline, commitment, consistency, some suffering. That's the most critical pieces that must be in place in the realization of that agent that comes in and join you. So we take a look at number one, humility. Number two, work ethic, and the two silos of work ethic. The time they're willing to put in, but then number two, the time on task of the activities and the responsibilities that are typically the most uncomfortable, but the most uncomfortable always gives us the greatest rewards. Always, it moves the needle the most, okay? So number three, hunger. People say, well, a big why or what or this or that. And I don't know, I think hunger goes deeper. Hunger is something that you've got to see inside of someone. Like I'm talking about when you're dieting. Have you ever dieted or maybe skipped a meal, and it's like, I know from just trying to stay in shape myself personally, like I am hungry, I get hangry. I want that same urgency, that hunger that someone has to do their best, okay? To show up at the highest level, to have that humility and that work ethic. I mean, hunger is so tough to measure, and a lot of times you're not going to find out until they get into your environment. But ask them that question. Where have you shown an absolute hunger to be your best and to win? Have them define that and get really, really clear, because these three things that I'm talking to you about, I'm talking about humility, I'm talking about work ethic, I'm talking about hunger. When someone's not producing, I want to go back and revisit that. Now, it's all for naught. It is all for naught if you don't do this one piece. See, typically if someone's joining you, they're wanting to grow. They want to grow in their life and they want to grow in their business, but there's an identity issue. There's an identity issue. You've got to work deeply with people to have them to understand, to see themselves as they're going to be, to act as they're going to be, and just using that language. Work with them on vision, seeing it happen, because many people have things from the past. They've got old programming that they could have all of these assets within them of humility, of work ethic, okay, and hunger, but they've got these things that hold them back from their old programming. And so where you've got to go is you've got to go deeper with your people and really get them to look at working on their identity. It's like the person that wants to lose weight. They've been overweight all their life, and they've got the perfect plan. They've got the hunger, they've got the work ethic, they've got the humility. But there's that little voice in the back of their head that says, no, you're not an in-shape person. You're not a healthy person. And I'm telling you, this is the deeper stuff when it comes to leadership. And it's the things that people miss. People get so much into the science of the business. It gets to a point where you got to let the science go and you got to get into the art. You've got to get into understanding human behavior because people move the money. And if you can't move people, you won't move the money. So hope you found that really, really helpful. There's many other aspects of hiring employees and agents that are super, super important. But those three right now are so critical, but also work with people on their identity. Get them to see themselves as they're going to be. Have them like smell it, sense it, feel it, like work on their vision. That's the deeper work. That's how you move people. And if you move people, people will move the money regardless of market condition.